Welcome to my December technique class with Michelle Last using the seasonally scattered stamp set. I'm going to be sharing with you how I made the 3 cards from the technique class. This is the first card that I'm going to be sharing with you how to make. It's got some sparkle on it, it's very pretty, and I'm going to talk you through step by step what you'll need to do. So what you'll do is, if you haven't attended the class in person but you've attended the class to go, you'll receive the pack through the post. So you've got everything you need to make the card. The inside parts of the card are for the inside. So very simply, we're just going to mount and layer up the inside and stick that in. And then the front, I have already embossed that for you. The reason I did that is you may not own this embossing folder. So I just want to show you roughly the basics of how we did it. So what you're going to do for the top one, you're actually going to line it up to the top of the card and fold the back over the back of the embossing folder, and that means that you would end up with the spacing that we've got here. And then the bottom one, you very simply line up the bottom of the embossing folder with the bottom of the card like this, and then what it's going to give you is a nice evenly spaced embossing with a centre panel where we're going to stick the sentiment. So this is the Adorning Accents embossing folder. So let's get started. So we need the Merry stamp from the stamp set, and we need the Versamark. So let's grab the white. So you've got a large sheet of white in your pack here. This is cut to be the width of the card front, and you're also going to need another piece to cut out the Ambrite in a moment. So what we're going to do is, I want you, you're going to stamp the Merry, and what you'll be inclined to do is stamp it in the centre of the card like this. I don't want you to. What I want you to do is just stamp it centrally, side to side centrally across the Whisper White cardstock. I'll show you that now, and that basically then means that you're the right width, and then all we have to do is cut down to a 5cm panel to fit on the card front. So ink up your stamp with plenty of Versamark, and then I just need to put the trimmer down there. And now I'm going to stamp my Merry. I'm going to try and stamp it straight. You could use a Stamp-O-Majig if you wish, but I'm just going to hope that it's come out pretty straight. And then I'm going to heat emboss this in white embossing powder. So let's turn my heat embossing tool on to be getting warm. I'm going to get rid of any sections that are that I've got extra pieces on. I could use a little paintbrush to get rid of these. I have just slightly not got it central here. Can you see that? I've got a bit of a gap this side and not such a gap this side. So what I'm going to do is stamp it again. Okay, so we're a little bit further over. Better. So I'm just going to do this side as well now. Okay. Can you see that that's better? It's not going to show up particularly on the white card because we're embossing white onto white card. But take your time, make sure your heat gun's warm or hot, and just focus on each area before moving on. Just so as I don't get powder everywhere, I'm actually going to heat emboss this other image, even though I don't like it, just to save powder getting everywhere. So it's actually this one that I would like. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take it to my trimmer and I'm going to cut just below the bottom snowflake as a starting point. And then when I turn it round, I'm going to line it up with approximately 5 centimetres. Make sure I'm not going to hit the other top snowflake. And then what I'll do is my piece of card will be the perfect width to fit on the front of my card there, and it's straight, so that's good. Now I will need this card in a moment. I need the scraps of it, so I'm just going to set that aside. Now what we're going to do is colour our image. So we're using the Lost Lagoon and the Night of Navy ink and sponge daubers or a sponge. You can use whichever you wish. I'm going to start with the Lost Lagoon on a sponge. I'm going to lay this down and I'm going to start off the card here, and I'm going to go in a circular motion, and I'm going to go all over the cardstock. I start off the card so that I don't pick up too much ink in one spot. Now if you're going to start anywhere, we're going to make the Merry darker, so if you wanted to, you could start where the Merry is and work your way out and get a nice graduated colour going on. Now I'm trying to make sure that I go off the card and not just stay on the card, because I just want to get a nice subtle Lost Lagoon colour. I want it to be darker in the centre, which is kind of what's happening. So just build up the colour until you're happy with the colour. Okay, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the Night of Navy. If I show you the dauber for this, I'm going to pick up a bit of Night of Navy. I'm going to start in the middle and I'm going to just build up the colour. Now it's going to sit on top of the white, so I want you to brush away the excess with a tissue. But we just want the Merry to stand out a little bit more, so I'm going to try and stick within the snowflake stamped image like that, just to make the Merry stand out. So I'm going to use the other piece of sponge that hasn't got any ink on it, just to wipe off the excess from the white. You can see we picked up a little bit of ink. We're just going to polish that off the lovely embossed surface like that. Okay. Then what you've got in your card pack, you've got the silver and the glitter. And what's going to happen is this is going to stick on there and that's going to stick on there. But before you do that, we need to attach the snowflake. I'll just show you what we're doing. We're going to attach the snowflake over the little white piece of card. It was a white piece of card. So on our scrap, while we're here, we might as well do the And Bright. So it's Merry and Bright, the stamp I've used, but you could use anything. Merry and Bright. So the scrap piece of card we had, only need to use part of it. And what we mainly want is the And Bright and a gap. So I'm going to stamp it over here like this in the Night of Navy ink. What I've done, you'll see why I've done that in a moment. What I've done is I've stamped there And Bright, and I'm going to line it up like so. So I've got a gap here, which is where my snowflake will go. Now I need to colour it the same colour as the background, or colourish. It'll pop. It'll be very bright white otherwise. Just need to grab a bit more ink. I'm just subtly colouring that so it blends in. And I'm going to need some dimensionals. Just grab my dimensionals. I always think I've got everything I need, and then I find I haven't got everything I need. So this is the perfect time to use the edge pieces of your dimensionals. So if I just trim off just a little section here, that will go on the back there, just so. Then when I stick that on the front with that and bright protruding across like that, what I can do now is thread my snowflake, put a little strip of double-sided tape on the back, whoops, and I'm going to grab a glue dot, put that on the back of the snowflake. So I'm grabbing a glue dot on the back of my snowflake, so that when I lay my snowflake where I'd like it to go, which is about there, and get my elastic cord, what I can do is just take it to the top. Oops, I've done it in the wrong place. Oh well, it's still going to work. So I've stuck it in place there. I'm going to trim off the excess. Okay, like that. I'm going to pop another piece on the top here. And another little piece here, just to keep them in place. Because you'll find now that we're going to be sticking to the glimmer card, and the glimmer card is quite hard to get things stuck to it, so I recommend you use Tombow or some wet glue, because it will seep into the glitter and actually create a bond, whereas things that lay on top of it really don't want to stick onto the glimmer paper. So let's pull that off, and like I said, some Tombow. Try and go right up to the edges to get a nice bond, and I'm going to stick that centrally, even gap top and bottom, onto my glimmer paper. I just need to lift it up a second and have a jiggle with it. Okay. You can see it's not wanting to stick at all. You're going to have to wait for the glimmer paper to absorb a bit of the Tombow glue. Oh gosh, I haven't got it lined up very well. There we go, that's a bit better. Let's get it in the right place. Now just give it a moment or two to dry, and if we set that aside for a second, what we're going to do is be gluing that on top of our silver piece. Okay, now I would give this a little time to dry because it's lifting slightly, as you can see just here. It just needs to soak in and really dry into the glimmer. It will. And what you may find is that once you've stuck this onto the silver, which I'll do now, if I line it up with one edge at least, I've got a little bit of overlap here, that's fine, we'll trim that off. Okay, so I line that up. Then what will happen is that's going to stick on your card front, and you'll find if you're going to have an overlap, have it on one side, and we can just trim that off with scissors or a trimmer. So I'm now going to glue this to the card front. Cardstock's sticking no problem. It's just the foil paper and the glimmer paper that just takes that little bit extra time. Be patient, it will stick. It's great, it gives you a bit of manoeuvrability. Whoa, a bit too much manoeuvrability. Okay, let's take that out. There. So I'm going to line everything up with that edge. And now what I'm going to do is, can you see we've got a bit of overlap here? I'm going to just trim that off. So I need my trimmer again. I'm going to trim a bit off the whole card. Crikey. Wait for it to dry would be my advice. I'm rushing so that I can get the video made and show you, but I'm going to trim that off. I'm going to do that in a moment because I don't want to create any more glue on there. Okay, and that, once it's dry and you've trimmed off the excess, is almost your card complete. You have got in your card pack some some rhinestones, which I just would position in the centre of some of the snowflakes just to add a bit of dazzle and a bit of sparkle. I'm not going to stick mine on just yet because I've actually got the big rhinestones and I just want to put some little ones on there. But that's it, that's your card complete. So I hope you enjoy making this card. By all means swap out the sentiment and do trees or something else for Christmas, that would work great. So thanks very much for watching and have a great day.